Hello! Our son Jeremy is in Europe, and his wireless company charges extra for data outside the U.S., so we're getting huge bills.
Turn your phone off, Jeremy. Turn it off!
This is it. We tried to get our son Jeremy to stop racking up overseas data charges. No luck. We're at our wits' end with this.
Wits' end. It's the end of our wit, Jeremy. We have no wit.
Thanks, everyone, for your help. What's left to say? Wish he had T-Mobile. They don't charge extra for this stuff.
You want to fool around?
Yeah.
I'll meet you upstairs.
You know, Jeremy racked up quite a bill traveling Europe. Got hosed just like everybody else does by AT&T, just for doing normal things like texting and surfing the web. In this case, I think I'm going to have to help Jeremy out. Can you believe this? My word. Hey, do you guys take checks? This is ridiculous.
We take checks, right?
I'm out of here. Let's go to Vegas.
Going to redefine a stupid, broken, arrogant industry.
People don't feel just confused by this. They feel like the confusion was deliberate, and we're here to change it all.
You can upgrade when you want, not when you're told to.
Customers are frustrated. We want the freedom and the flexibility to connect globally. We're going to make the world your network.
Speeds on this network are going to be truly exciting for the customer. They're going to have great product, great devices. They're going to have a great experience.
We've struck a chord with customers. I'll call it a revolution.
Come on, let's go. Yeah! Let's go! All right. Thank you. All right. Okay, you did notice the utilization of Macklemore on my entry here. And the fun part is that was even before today. If you think they'd throw me out then, wait till you hear what happens after today. Now, the good news for all of you, thank you very much for that viral response to my treatment. The good news is that I'm now popular with the group in New York that reads the same newspapers as I. I was placed in the New York Post slightly to the left of the question as to whether Kim Kardashian's selfie was photoshopped, and right above former Governor Spitzer being caught sucking someone's toes in a topless tub. So, hey, I don't know about you, but this is where I've always wanted to be. And frankly, where is Roger? Roger, just to take care of you, I got you this special shirt that will be available, and it simply says, "I just wanted to hear Macklemore." So here you go, Roger. You ever take another goddamn picture of me, I'm going to shoot you. By the way, if you were, this was, I don't want to spend too much time on it. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I'm not shitting you. I just love Macklemore. And I was sitting here, and his manager gave me tickets. And by the way, so those of you that said, this is my all-access pass, Roger, you can have that too, because you're never getting in anywhere else again either. And so I'm in there with Roger. It shows you I have a small amount of friends and we were actually having fun talking about tweeting, and this amount of humanity that is so big I've never seen it circled me. I mean, no shit. This was 4 gigantic human beings, and then somebody with one of those things, and they said, "We'd like to speak to you outside." At which point, my CFO, Braxton Carter, hid in the bathroom. Right? Roger ignored all sights of me and started tweeting. Dave Carey fought for me, but he was no match. And then we were out in the hallway, and this is the only thing I'll say about it, because it's it may be a preview. I saw all the news today that Microsoft might not have a CEO. I don't know if there's any pending AT&T news we didn't know about. Because, I got out in the hallway, and I just said, okay, listen, I don't want to go to jail. I mean, it's been a few months. I don't feel like going back. And I just looked at these people, and I said, listen, it's not why I came here. But do you have any idea how much material you're going to give me if you do this? I said, can I just ask you, are you sure AT&T wants to kick me out? And literally, this person goes, hello, yes. She said to me, yes, I spoke to the CEO of AT&T, and she wants you to leave. So, I don't know. That's a little input for you, Ralphie, wherever you are. What a difference a year makes. And by the way, wouldn't it be fun if right now I did the Michael, whatever his name is, thing off to the left? Do you believe that the top 2 stories of day 1 of CES, instead of the 120 4K TVs, was Michael Bay melts down, John Legere gets tossed out? You got to admit there's some companies racking their brain. Now, we've had a great year. And those of you that were here last year, it started here with some connection that I saw with all of you and with customers that this industry blows. I mean, it's just broken. It needs change. And it was actually the most simplistic execution of listening to customers that's ever happened. By the end of today, I'm going to explain to you why this revolution will clearly continue. We almost didn't come, because we don't want to get cliche and just come and do things. But then we realized what better place than here for a 1-year summary of what's going on. And I promise I'm not going to rant too much, okay? But I do think to set the stage up front, I have to give you a little report card on the industry. A year ago, all the conversation was, what are you yelling about, Dave? Yeah, it's like, in school and the teacher says at the F are you. Okay, so in the industry, right? So what a year ago? Everything was about spectrum. Everything was about capacity, speed, reliability. And we still had this subsidization issue that was driving everybody crazy when we talked about value plans. Device choices. We didn't even have the iPhone and other devices yet. Penalties, ETFs, data overages, etc. This whole prepaid differential. Now, that was then, and there's a now. But in order to talk about the now, let me just do 1 second on each of my friendly competitors, if you don't mind. And then we'll come back. Now, let's start with Verizon. I want to give them huge credit for standing up and saying, our network is bloated, the speeds are too slow, we're going to do something about it. Okay? That's the way you stand up and solve a problem. However, in this industry, when there's a problem and your network is slow, you should be able to leave. That's it. I'll be back when things are better. You don't download, I'm leaving, I'll be back later. Okay? But they lost sight of their customers because of their success, and they took customers for granted. Now, what I'm going to talk about a lot here today, towards the end, is I have come to the understanding and final conclusions that one of the biggest evils in this industry is the family plan. And if you think about it, we grew up thinking the family plan was a nice thing to give a family. They all sat together, they got lower prices, and it was good for everybody. That is total horseshit. A family plan is nothing more than a contract on super steroids, with staggered dates, a complete life sentence. And by the way, I said it jokingly last year, but the data caps in the family plan have forced the people in the family to think each other is the problem with the limitations on their data. And it's not Joe Schmo pulling down porn that's the problem. It's that the family has a data cap that's too low for everybody. And it's part of a data monetization strategy that Verizon talks about all the time. So summary on Verizon, hey, not us, 55% EBITDA margins. We don't want to compete with those guys. Everything's great. We're the best network in the world. Hold that thought. Okay, Sprint. I'll make this quick. Sprint is a pile of spectrum waiting to be turned into a capability. Right now, their network is completely horrible. They got high, medium, and low, and they keep talking about pardon our dust while we redecorate. Then why, right after they say that, do they keep announcing things? The network modernization plan took forever. That Spanky thing or whatever they announced, Sparky, I mean, come on. People in lab coats talking about what's going to happen when my daughter's president of the United States. You know, that's another thing where I would just say, whether it's the zombie commercials or that's James Earl talking about the tweets that I have no idea what they were talking about, student plans at Best Buy, you know, and did I really hear Framley yesterday? But I wasn't surprised because last week I heard they might bring the Nextel brand back. So I would just summarize them as an impaired brand right now with a network capability that won't be here for a while. Customers should be able to leave, and when it turns out to be whatever they're going to have that beams up Scotty, then go back. Okay? I forgot one. AT&T. AT&T is a total source of amusement for me because they're the one that takes my bullshit. Dumb move. They take the bait. And they talk in corporate speak. Now, finally, when they got around to looking at handset subsidization, they couldn't do it. Did they just say that it's a competitive environment and our customers need subsidization? No. The geniuses came out and said something along the lines of, when the saturation point in the industry reaches over 92%, economically, come on, you got hosed. And what you're going to see then is, you know, these are fat cats that can't move. I was watching TV the other day after they announced their plan to kind of win the customers back that we took from them that I'll explain in a second. Why don't you have the balls to answer the question, hey, is this targeted at T-Mobile because they're taking a piece out of you? No, I would like to give our customers a chance to experience our network and our J.D. Power's winning. Come on, bullshit. You'll have the answer in a few seconds. Next, zero down, Jeremy, and these sponsored data. I'll take that in Q&A. That is the biggest horse shit in the world, right? So what happened in sponsored data? You got people with a data cap that are pissed because they can't go to sites because they're limited on their capability. And what do? Instead of changing that with your customers, you go over to the people that can't get to the customers and you say, I have a great idea. I'll preferentially charge you to get to those customers. And the customers won't be pissed when they go to United Healthcare because they're under their data cap because you're paying. Give me a break. How long will it take us to disrupt that? I mean, if I could smell Uncarrier 9 coming up on that one at some point in time. But I'll come back because I think we're going to have to fire the kids, which is going to be a later point in the presentation. Did you notice, by the way, that AT&T's commercials changed last week? Did anybody see that? It now says that they're faster than Verizon and bigger than T-Mobile. Okay? Do you think that there's a reason for that? Coming. Okay, so that's a little piece. And what I would say is last year, what we set out with your behalf is to break a stupid, broken, arrogant industry. We're not done, but here's where the power comes. In the past 365 days, we've delivered in a big way, right? Customers are telling us we got it right. They like our changes. Right now, how do you test that, right? So here's what I want to do. What time is it, by the way? No, time on the clock. Oh, that's not that good. All right, well, we'll do it anyway. Okay, so biggest thing that's going to give power to this company is what? Customers. Everything's about customer choice. So don't take my word for it. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to announce our Q4 preliminary results. So you remember Q2, Q3, T-Mobile added more phone customers than what? Everybody else combined. And you remember the question which says, what are you guys going to do when they fight back? Does anybody think people weren't fighting back at Christmas, the holidays? So Q4 might be a good way to look at this, right? Rewind the tape. Q4 of 2012, T-Mobile lost 515,000 postpaid customers. For the year on the postpaid side, we lost 2.1 million customers. Big hole, right? Okay, here's the answer. 1.645 million ads in Q4. Okay, 1.645 million. No, it's not even the million that we did in Q2 and Q3. It's 60% higher. Q4 was a complete knockout. That's 3 quarters in a row, over 1 million customers coming to T-Mobile. Let's keep going. Branded nets. Let's just call it 1 million. 981,000. 664 wholesale. I'll give you a little more data. Prepaid. Do you remember this? Hey, John, I get it. You bought Metro PCS. You guys are going to be great in the prepaid side. But how will you ever dig out of that 2.1 million hole in the postpaid side? Okay? Q4, 869,000 postpaid nets. This is the part where you shit your pants, Roger. Okay? Best quarter of the year, best quarter in 8 years, 800,000 phone net adds. The other 69,000 was tablets. We just started. That's a preview of coming attractions. 69,000, 800 phone nets. Prepaids, 112,000 prepaid nets, driven heavily by strong Metro PCS. And churn, 1.7% branded postpaid churn, 80 basis point improvement over the year. By the way, the SOGA for our postpaid business held steady, over 21%, up from 13% last year. So SOGA's up at 21%, churn's at 1.7%, 800,000 phone net adds. And let me just give you the punchline that Mike will talk about too. Everybody loves porting ratios. Do you know what they are? Okay, here's your next question for Ralphie when he's on TV. Okay, since we announced Uncarrier, AT&T's porting ratio with us has stayed above 2.0. For the 7 days ended January 1st, it was 2.24. Okay? Sprint, over 2 the entire time. 7 days ended January 1st, 3.4. Okay? And here's the even more fun part. 7 days ended January 1st, Verizon, 1.3. Okay? So what you hear here in these numbers is the trend. Here's a trend. Can anybody draw a trend line on this? Okay? This is the Uncarrier trend line. How big was the year for T-Mobile? Okay? The answer to the question of whether or not the Uncarrier movement's going to continue. Because guess what happens? When this many customers move to a proposition, people change. So whether or not we can do what we set out to do together and what I'm going to tell you in the next 2 things is going to work, the answer comes. So how many net adds for T-Mobile in 2013? 4.4 million. That's a turnaround in 1 year. 4.4 million customers coming to T-Mobile. That has made us the fastest growing wireless company in the U.S. Now, I can tell you what's going to happen from here when we announce the next few things. We are either going to take over this whole industry, or these bastards are going to change, the whole industry is going to shift, and we will still be highly successful, and I don't give a goddamn either one of those things. I'm going to love watching the Peckers scream and cry and do everything that we've got to do because we're going to win. And that's a lot of fun. So that's results. That's announcement number 1. These are big MRFer results. Okay, so here is Ralphie, who lost a lot of weight and got rid of that mustache. I thought he looked better fat, frankly. And then, you know, you look at these results. Come on. This is unbelievable. So at least say it. They got a good idea. And by the way, you know what you do if you're these guys? Do it. It's not that hard. We're going to help them in a second. Okay. Now, recap before I get to Uncarrier 4. Here's what's going on. We're eliminating pain points. It's not that complicated. By the way, do you know sometime what you're going to find out that might have happened? We might have announced an Uncarrier phase and not really known what we were going to do, and then listened to the rumors of what everybody wanted, and then did that. Because the answers that come in are beautiful. 1.0 was a watershed moment. And part of 1.0, by the way, was 100% value plans. And 100% value plans is the end of subsidies. It's a migration that makes phone creators deal with customers. By the way, the other day when a couple of carriers announced a preferential, unique device that only they have, that model doesn't work when you have no subsidization in contracts. Because wouldn't you want more distribution if there's not contracts and subsidization? This is changing the industry. By the way, I saw some press releases lately where people are waking up to, hey, this is really good for wireless carriers. How many wireless carriers spend CapEx on other than their retail distribution and on their networks? So that's where they should be running their business, not trying to sell devices. 100% value plans, no contracts, not an offer. This isn't an offer. This is a lifestyle. There will never be contracts anywhere in our business. No overages, very simple pricing, no contracts. What's happened? 12.2 million customers have come to Simple Choice. You want a little stat? If you're sitting down in Washington, D.C., or you want to know about the industry, if everybody switched to T-Mobile from Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T, the savings for customers would be $20 billion. That's bigger than an auction. Okay, that's number one. Number two, this one got a lot of response, mostly terrible. Anytime upgrade. This is able to do what you want when you want. Best in the industry. 3.6 million customers have moved to Jump. And this is going extremely well. Again, it's a lifestyle. It's going to be a change. 3.0. I will tell you, we will become famous for this in 14. This is no more bill shock, no international data roaming charges. The world is your network. The feedback has been huge. Customers have paid millions of charges. This is an automatic switching point. So right now, there are a bunch of really pissed off people in contracts hearing about people on vacation that can do whatever they want for free. Data usage internationally on our network, 10x at no cost to customers. Tenfold. Okay, and as I told you before, this was not our business. Okay, that's 3. 4, we unleashed tablets. Good start, 70,000 or so. Revolutionizes how customers buy tablets. Free data for life. We sold more in 1 month than in the last 2 years. Okay, that was Uncarrier 3 Part 2. Now, what's coming? Uncarrier 4. Keep eliminating pain points. We will continue to. But I'm going to take a little side turn and announce something else. All the disruption in the world doesn't mean shit without a network to back it up. And I will tell you the thing I'm proudest of is when we announced Uncarrier 1, we had a lot of work to do on our network, on our LTE deployment. We needed it to get moving. I've talked a lot about what we've done. I even said a few times about what's going to come. Now, in 2013, nationwide, end of the year, 4G LTE, 273 metro areas, 209 million pops. And there's something else that I can announce now, and I'm going to do it first by rolling this video. Can you run this video?
Most dependable 3G network, largest 4G network. 3 times faster, 10 times faster, fastest, faster, most reliable, fastest, largest, fastest, better, period.
Exactly.
Faster is better.
Okay, let me talk about this now. You don't hear anybody arguing yet with this. Devices, by the way, how many of you still use those other guys? Anybody? Feeling alone over there. Barry, you do, you lying bastard. Okay, anybody ever use speedtest.net? Ookla? Okay, it's actually back to the theme that I've talked about with crowdsourcing, with consumer choice. This thing has gone viral. What people do is they sit around with each other and they do speed tests. It's sort of like my network's bigger than yours. My network's faster than yours. What do you got? Okay? Now, the fascinating part about that is all of the data is stored. Every single one. Every company, every piece. We have the data. Millions and millions and millions. What's the fun part about this kind of data? People don't do it where they aren't. They do it where they are. They're out getting a half a bag on somewhere and they're with their buddies. They want to talk about who's going to switch. They do speed tests. You fail, you lose. Okay? Now, if you look at that data now, guess what? We win by a mile. It's not this old root metrics crap. This is like 1980s, some old guy in a car with a measuring tape rides around the country and then comes back and sells for millions of dollars the bullshit that says you're fastest. Okay? By the way, I think I heard that used this week. This changes every minute of every day. And if you want to do it, I'll challenge any of you. Okay? But what I'd like to do is talk a little bit deeper about this, because what we finally agree with AT&T on something. Faster is better. How hard do you think they're going to swallow all of those poor kids' commercials about the faster is better? And I have so much fun with this. Anybody how many of you use Twitter? I mean, tell you, one of my favorite treats has become #Randall. You know, #Randall, thank you very much for the cash and spectrum that we use to build our network to take your customers, and now your plan to try to buy them back. But it's true. The network is screaming fast. We have 6.5 million tests, 1.5 million users. Do you know, as I'm going to bring Neville up to talk now, our 20 by 20 network, which he's going to talk about, has download speeds. You ready? Now, by the way. Now, not spanky. 147 megs. The 10 by 10 that's deploying is 72. So, you know, don't take our word for it. It's crowdsourcing. You can be a part of it. I'm going to ask Neville Ray to come up and give you a little bit more on that. Neville?
Thanks, John. Oh, my goodness. You guys digest all that in the last 20 minutes? How can you throw that man out of a party, for Christ's sake? He is the party, isn't he? Huh? My goodness. So how do I follow John, right? He's given you all those big headlines. What I wanted to do was just give you a little bit more color, right, and some real data on this Ookla stuff and what we're seeing and the growth of this great T-Mobile network. I'm so proud of where we've got to. This fastest claim, it's been 2 years in the making, right? 2 years ago, we had nothing. A year ago, we had no LTE at all here in the U.S., 0. And here we are today announcing the fastest in the nation. That's a huge accomplishment for the folks in T-Mobile, and it's fabulous, fabulous for our customers who are coming in droves, right? You just saw that data from John. In droves, right, to T-Mobile to enjoy that network, enjoy our products, and enjoy the great value, right? Taking those handcuffs off of customers that we've been doing all year long. But let me just put a little bit of color back on the speed test and the difference to how the claims that have been out in the marketplace for so long have been established. We've all seen them, fastest, biggest, most reliable, I don't know what, right? AT&T's been pushing that message down with the kids, and faster is better, we agree, right? Billions of dollars thrown at this stuff. How do they get that data? They hire people to get in cars, drive around the U.S., they'll do this city this week, this city the next week, whatever it might be, and sooner or later, right, they get a view of national performance from all the carriers with a set of handsets that have been stuck in the trucks or in the vehicles. And these consultants, they kind of pull all the data together. And you know what? About 3-4 months later, you get some numbers, right? So think about this. We rolled out our LTE network inside less than 9 months. So a lot of the claim data that you were seeing from AT&T up until recently, John's right, they started to pull that fastest thing, right, out of their headline advertising. But that data was way, way old. And at a point in time, we had no LTE in some of those markets when they were recording, pulling that data in. So how do you get over that, right? How do you get to something which is reflective of the pace of growth and change in this industry and the pace and growth of what we've been doing at T-Mobile? So that's where, we come in with this speed test data. It's fabulous, right? Now, I'm an engineer, right? I have 1,000 or so really great radio guys, and they've been looking at this data for months. And I've said to them, you guys sure this is the right way to look at this data? They're saying there's no better way. This is real-time data. I'm going to show you in a minute results from yesterday, okay? Not 3 months ago or 3 quarters ago, yesterday. That's how real this stuff is. Millions of customers, John said it, right? Millions of folks out there using that speed test app to test their network. Where they want, how they want, the device they carry, when, how, whatever, right? It's fabulous. It's crowdsourcing. And there's millions and millions of records coming in on this stuff. And it's not just, where's the FCC going, right? The FCC is out there, wonderful regulator, right? And they're saying, how do we, drive some, true comparative studies across these networks? What are they going to do? They've launched their own speed test app. And you run that app, if you guys, any of you downloaded it, I'm sure some of you have, and you compare it to speed test, it's the same stuff. Same numbers come through. So you know what? The government's going to be saying what we're saying on the stage today pretty soon. I can tell you that. So not only are we the fastest, the other piece that's coming through on this data, we're the most consistently fast. So what does that mean? It means when you press that app, when you test, when you digest data on our network, it's consistently faster than all of the competition. Oh, I thought the Verizon and AT&T guys were most reliable. Well, how do they measure this? Or how do we look at it? How do we calculate this stuff? If you look at kind of a 5 or 6 megabit per second speed, 85% of the time that T-Mobile customers go to that speed test app, they get above those levels. Highest in the industry. Nobody else gets close to that. Everybody else 70s, 60s, and below. 85% of the time, customers get great speeds from T-Mobile. So it's not just peaks, it's a consistent and reliable service that we're putting in the hands of our customers. So let's give you some data. So this is the data. This is the month of December, okay? 31 days. It's averaged across the month. And last time I looked, and I do some math, 17.8 is bigger than the 14.7 from AT&T. Now, I'll tell you what. They know this is the case. They've seen this coming for some time. They have same access to this data that we do. And I don't know if Ralph didn't get a memo or what, right? But they see this stuff. They know. And we crossed those AT&T speeds way back early in the fourth quarter. And every month goes by, we improve and we enhance this gap. So there we are. I forgot somebody. There they are. Very forgettable. That's why I forgot them. The Sprint thing, I don't know what to say about it, right? 5+5 network, half the speeds of anybody else. I know, I've been thinking about parties this week a lot after John's fun on Monday night. And you know what? When the Sprint guys get their 200 million pops of kind of low-speed LTE done, I'm going to throw them a party, right? They need one. They've been working on it for like 4 years, and they still haven't got it done. Somebody please ask Dan when he's going to complete 200 million pops and get nationwide LTE to his customers. And not Spark or I love it, John, Spanky. That was new today to me. I love that. I'm going to be using that a lot. They've got so far to go, and look at the performance. Long way to go. So, let's move on, and this is data from yesterday. I don't know how I can give you more real-time data than that. So this is tens and tens of thousands of numbers coming through. And you can see there's a little variability from those averages, but not much. And that's what's out there. So I'm not putting in front of your face drive test data from June or July of last year, right? What's today's date? It's the 8th, I think, right? So this is the 7th. This is what it looks like. Great numbers. So no more old historical bullshit from us, right? The AT&T guys are still going to be pushing out old tired message, old tired company. What was the big announcement this week? Did you hear that one? HD voice? We were on a stage in CES last year. We launched HD voice. They said the other day they're going to launch it this year, and sooner or later they'll have a device to support it. We have over 10 million customers with HD voice, billions of calls on HD voice, and these guys are announcing technologies which were a year old, and they couldn't even announce it was going to happen now. It's happening some point in time in this year. So old information and old technology coming out of these guys. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening on the T-Mobile side. You heard the news from John, 209 million pops. We've been adding a lot of spectrum now to that footprint. 24 of the top 25 markets, 10 plus 10. 43 of the top 50 markets, now at 10 plus 10. So the great news story is we've got this big nationwide footprint. We continue to push and grow on that in 14. Now we're piling on the spectrum, right? And we're moving into this wideband LTE space. 15 plus 15, 20 plus 20. Megahertz LTE. Stuff is powerful. Stuff is very, very powerful. And we have spectrum to bring to bear to put on this network that we built. Many of the other guys don't. We'll talk about that more in a second. But rather than me give you speeds and numbers, let's roll a video and you can take a view at what 20 plus 20 looks like.
How fast is fast internet? Well, we'd like to show you. In October, T-Mobile made the world your network, and we celebrated with a free Shakira concert in New York. We recently did a test in North Dallas, where we downloaded an HD video of that entire concert to see which network was faster, T-Mobile wideband LTE or home broadband. Let's take Uverse, for example. And the winner is T-Mobile. Wait a minute. How far ahead were we? Home broadband is still working away. Looks like we have some extra time. Wonder what we can do while we wait. And there you go. Same file, more than twice as fast. Let's not forget AT&T Wireless, who so wisely said, faster is better. So true. T-Mobile wideband LTE. This is faster than fast.
Does that make sense, right? Faster than a lot of the broadband that's out there in the US. This stuff is super, super fast. We launched 20 plus 20 initially in Dallas, and we've seen speeds there. John said this, 147 MIPS, right? 147 megabits per second, peak on the download. So let's talk one dimension that often gets missed here about the handsets, right? So a bunch of you techie guys, you know there's this difference between Cat 3 and Cat 4, right? LTE, and the Cat 3s kind of stop at 100 MIPS on speeds, and the Cat 4s go above, and 5s and 6s are coming. The great news for our customers is we've already got a ton of Cat 4 devices in the marketplace, and all of the LTE product that we have in customers' hands today can benefit from these speed increases. So think about that, right? The network's there. As we add more spectrum, speeds and performance improve. So folks can start to see and enjoy those peaks. The guys in the newer and the Cat 4 devices, a lot more of those come in this year, they can see the stuff over 100 megabits per second on peaks. That's our existing base of customers, right? They have those handsets in their hands today. Now think about some of the other pieces that are going on in the marketplace. Think about the Verizon story. John mentioned it. The network blew up, right? They put their hand up, said, yeah, we effed up, right? We screwed the pooch here, right? And we took our eye off the ball, and the network got congested. In New York, in San Francisco, in Chicago, right? And then this week they said, oh, but we fixed that. And so they said, we fixed that. We added this AWS spectrum to it. And I'm thinking, well, that's good. The engineering guys have got some of that, work done. But what's missing? What they didn't tell you is the vast majority of Verizon customers don't have an AWS-capable device. So did they fix the problem for a large number of those customers? No, they're still going to get the same shitty service that's going on in Manhattan, in Chicago, in San Francisco, wherever it may be. So if you tell the truth, tell the whole truth, guys. That's what you guys have got to pull out of these folks when they stand up and talk about these things, right? The Sprint story. My goodness, pardon our dust. It's a shitstorm, right? That's not a dust storm. They stood up on stage the other day and said there's going to be another 6 months. And then they'll stand up on stage again, it'll say another 6 months. And they try to deflect the focus of the industry, not on their awful performance today, and their inability to execute, but on some space-time project way out in the future. Try and buy a Spark or Spanky handset in a Sprint store. They don't want to sell it to you, even if they have them. The retail folks, they don't want to sell it to you because they know how sparse the service is. If you manage to get one, go do this on the weekend. Then go out and try and find the network. It's like a treasure hunt. You'll find it somewhere, and then it disappears. And you'll get a speed which is worse and below at its best than what we can deliver on 10 plus 10 LTE today. So talk about trying to deflect focus in the marketplace somewhere else. There's a lot of crap being thrown at people in the market, right? And we're going to continue to try and make sure folks can cut through that and understand what's really being delivered. As John said, if it ain't working for them, let them go. Let them come over to T-Mobile. Maybe someday Sprint will fix that thing. 2 years, 3 years, I don't know, right? As I said, I'll throw a party when they do. So, last piece from me. One thing we announced beginning of this week, A-block spectrum, low-band spectrum, finally coming to T-Mobile. I've been with T-Mobile almost 14 years, right? I have never had a weapon like this in my arsenal. We are going to go and we are going to frighten the crap out of AT&T and Verizon, right, with that low-band spectrum. What are we going to do? We're going to extend the reach and capability of that great LTE network. All that performance, that speed, that capability, we're going to take that network now with low-band spectrum and quickly into customers' homes, into destination locations, and places where we can't play well today. Wasn't cost-effective. We couldn't get into many of these locations. With low-band spectrum, now we can. I'm not going to stand up here and say I'm going to do it all this year, but we are going to make a great start this year, and we are going to level the playing field and take away some of those coverage things that have been talked about at T-Mobile for so long. So my commitment, right, business commitment, is we are going to focus on delivering the best damn LTE there is in this nation. That's what we're going to put in our customers' hands, and we've got the tools in the toolkit and the weapons now to go make that happen. So with that, I'm going to hand back to John. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to try to hustle up. I apologize, and since I'm so active on Twitter, I know what comes out of your tweets when somebody goes too long. I've had the pleasure, I think the NVIDIA one the other night was probably the one that got the most wrath. But take this, couple takeaways from Neville. What we have now is a no apologies network. It's something that is only going to get better, not only with the speeds that will come 20 by 20, but then with the low-band spectrum and the auctions and things that will come in the forward. Now, a fun part about this is that right now I am going to send a cease and desist letter to AT&T to stop their advertisings that say they're the fastest. Do you know how many billboards they're going to have to take down? And because it's just not true anymore. And, you know, there's certain things I like to do in certain ones. This pains me to have to do it. I may take a film crew and deliver it personally. Okay, so that's so far, you get it. We've got the power because the customers are coming to us. Now we've got the network. We've got the strategic capability coming. Let's have a serious conversation about ETFs. A serious discussion. Now, this is a pain point that will drive fundamental change in the industry. It's anti-consumer. It restricts choice. Everything I've been trying to talk to you about is, and we have our times as well, whenever somebody's not doing well, customers should be able to pick up and leave. And I'm happy you're going to be better in a year. I'll come back. ETFs are clearly not seen. It's another form of phone subsidy. Okay? That phone did not cost $199. The reason the ETF is $350 is because you didn't pay back for the phone yet. And this circle will continue. It's part of the overall industry scam. There's no transparency. And what we are going to do is force the industry to get healthier, force the industry to change. I want every customer to have constant, complete choice. It'll be a healthier industry. And again, I'm not saying this two different ways. What I'm going to announce to you is not a program. Unfortunately for both Dan and Lowell, who said today, this week, that these kind of programs come and go. This one is here to stay. This is becoming a fundamental part of our philosophy. It's going to be the end of contracts. Once you get through these ETFs, the contract world will go away. and then we'll move to something healthier. Now, I will tell you, customers tell me repeatedly, I love what you're doing, I wish I could switch, but I'm handcuffed. And the fascinating part is, although I usually like to do things that disproportionately hurt AT&T, I think the family plans on Verizon here are going to be a fascinating experience to see. Couple of things. Well, why don't I do this? By the way, whether it's 1 line, 3, 4, or 5, it's just damn expensive. And I think I've got it fixed out. Let me roll a video, and then we make a couple of comments, and I'll turn to Mike. Roll the video.
Out of my Verizon contract.
I wish they would pay my cancellation fees like cable companies do.
All I want for Christmas is out of my AT&T contract.
When I have the money to pay the termination fee, I'll cancel Sprint and join T-Mobile.
T-Mobile, if you pay my termination fee, I'm yours.
I really need to get out of this contract.
I can't wait for my contract to expire.
Let me out of my contract.
It would cost $650 to get out of my 4-phone.
And you want me to pay $250?
Nothing breathes brand love like being fully gouged.
Bruh, I give up.
I'm stuck. Get me out.
T-Mobile, to renew
This is going to change things completely. And there's no tricks, there's no trickery, problem solved. Anybody who wants to switch now can. So what you're going to see now is 1.645 million customers came in Q4, but we've only been doing Uncarrier for 8 months, which means tons are locked into contracts. Here's some scary stats. 40% of families say they would move if somebody paid their early termination fees. A survey that was done last week, 78% of customers said that they would switch if somebody pays their fee. So what you can do, I got a great idea. And the reason I haven't trashed AT&T's little mimicky plan that's a short-term play, I got the plan. Now, by the way, if you're with T-Mobile, you don't want any part of that shit. Because the device trade-in thing, it's old. You might actually lose money on that, but that's not a new program. $200 to switch so that you can go to limited data and pay $1,800 a family more over 2 years, and you have to go into Next, which is a program that hasn't failed. What moron would do that? But here's the plan. My suggestion is that everybody in Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T take our plan. Get out of your contracts. If it doesn't work, then take AT&T's plan. So it's phase 2. And by the way, AT&T customers, come over to this plan. And if it doesn't work, they'll pay you to come back. It's beautiful. So we have a 2-phase plan that I'm going to have Mike come about. So I'm really happy that AT&T has given us almost like a no-fault guarantee. Come over, try the network, try what we're doing, and these pricks will pay you to come back if it doesn't work. It's absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. I'd like Mike Sievert to come up and give you the details so you don't think it's trickery, and then we'll move to Q&A and answer anything you want. Mike?
Sounds good. Thanks, John. You guys, the first thing we want you to understand is that this is not a promotion. It's not a switching offer. It's not a gimmick. This is the end of contracts. This is the end of one-way, onerous, unfair, restrictive contracts. This is fundamental change for our industry that we're announcing today, and it's important. Why is it important? Because people need the savings that they can get when they come to T-Mobile. In fact, that savings is $1,880 over 2 years for a typical family of 4, a data-loving family of 4, who, by the way, at T-Mobile gets unlimited data, and at AT&T would have to buy a big data plan. They get unlimited data. They save $1,800 over 2 years. Remember, the median household income in this country is $51,000. $1,800 over 2 years, that's a trip to Disneyland. That's like a multiple day trip to Disneyland. That's a down payment on a new car. This is important. And until today, people have not been able to get it if they're trapped in a contract. And here's why. Because those expiration dates are staggered. People thought they were signing up for a 2-year contract when they went to AT&T or Verizon or Sprint, and it's a sham. In fact, they've been tricked. They've been tricked and trapped because it's not a 2-year contract. It is a contract in perpetuity. Look at my family, for example. Okay, we've got a family of 5. Myself, my wife, my 2 kids, and my mom, who somehow weaseled her way onto our family plan. And if you look at, for me, if I were to leave, my contract's up pretty soon, so $150. My wife, her contract, let's say, expires in October, $200. My kids, they each got their phone within the last year. Sorry, $250 each times 2, $500 for the kids. And my mom, go figures, has 22 months left on hers, so $350. That's $1,200 that stands in my way of having real freedom. And it almost never materially changes. It's in perpetuity. Customers are stuck. And that's why what we're announcing today is so important, because we'll pay all of it. Every last cent. In fact, 5 lines, up to $350 per line, will pay every cent of their ETF. And in fact, in addition, we'll give our customers full fair value for their old phone in an instant credit up to $300 at the time of the transaction. And what that means is that our customers that come in are going to wind up getting up to $650 in order to switch. That is access to contract freedom. That removes the barrier to the savings and the Uncarrier philosophy that they've been pining for. Now, the issue is, okay, what happens if I want that savings, but wait a minute, I just traded in my phone, so what am I going to do about my phone? Well, I'm pleased to announce that starting today, all of our most popular phones are available to well-qualified customers starting at $0 down in every one of our 3,000 stores nationwide. $0 down, including our most popular devices, the Samsung Galaxy line, including the Samsung Galaxy S4, our most popular device by far. $0 down. So we're going to relieve you of the restrictions. We're going to take your trade-in and give you full fair value for it and send you on your way for $0 down in a major announcement today. Now, by the way, you might say, okay, but that sounds great, but I just got an iPhone 5S, like it just came out, or I just got a different model of phone like a couple of months ago. It's brand new. Think about it. You got it under contract. They hid from you the real price. You only paid $200 for it, and then they trapped you in that perpetual contract without telling you. So the truth is, it's worth more than that. We'll pay you full fair value for it. If that was an iPhone 5S in this particular example, 16 gig, you paid $200. It's actually worth $282. You bring it to us in addition to everything else John has said and I've said, you're going to make a profit on your phone of $82. Okay. Here's how it works. It's pretty simple. You trade in your old phones, and you get an instant credit at the time of the transaction, so there's no waiting. You pick a new phone. It's $0 down for well-qualified customers plus monthly payments, and that savings I told you about is net of the monthly payments. And then you simply send us a copy of your bill or upload it to switchtotmobile.com, and we'll reimburse your ETF. We'll pay you back every last cent. Now, this is an important announcement, but, we also, we can't help ourselves. We like to have a little fun with things. So starting today, we're also going to make it available, a pretty cool way for you to inform your prior carrier that it's time to make a switch. And so we're announcing at tmobile.com/breakup the breakup letter. And we're going to help you out with drafting your breakup letter because, it's important that you let them down easy. So you go to tmobile.com/breakup, kind of Mad Lib style, you name your ex, go ahead and click one, and then, maybe you answer a few questions like, I'm moving on because, you're not good enough. I've met someone else. I'm tired of feeling underappreciated, and answer 4 or 5 questions, and we'll be happy to draft for you your own breakup letter for your previous carrier. Dear AT&T, welcome to Dumpsville Population U. I'm tired of being used for my money instead of my brains. Let's not keep in touch. Love, Mike. And of course, in one click, you can put it out on your social and tell everybody you know that you have contract freedom. And that is what today is about. Contract freedom, the end to contracts. It's not a promotion. It's not a gimmick. It's not a switching offer. It's not a bribe. It's transformational change for our industry. You guys, you've been great. You've been patient with us. We've thrown a lot at you, and we want to make sure we have time to get to your questions. And so I'd love to invite back John and Neville, and also Braxton Carter, our Chief Financial Officer, and we'll be happy to take a few questions.
Yeah.
I love you guys. So Miriam Joy, and I'm just asking about what can you do if you're already a T-Mobile customer. I've been with T-Mobile since VoiceStream. I love you guys.
Yep.
Help me out here.
Great.
One of the things that makes us different is that we, at T-Mobile, we never fall into the trap, like you see so much across the industry, of treating new customers better than existing customers. And so, in fact, everything we've talked about today is available for our existing customers, even if they are under some old legacy contracts. They get contract freedom, too. It works the exact same way. Trade in your device, switch to Simple Choice, as 12.2 million of our customers already have. The contract swipe free. The savings are there, a brand new phone for $0 down.
Yeah. And that was an extremely important part of the program, because remember, what we're doing is ending contracts forever for everybody. So we have to make sure that our own customers get to make that migration as well. What are you all busy typing your breakup letters? Yeah.
Just to be clear, you kept saying it's for family plans, but this is for individual plans as well.
Absolutely. No, it's individual person up to a family plan. But I think what you're going to find is, the family has never been able to think of themselves individually. And, what they may end up doing is there may be one or two of them that doesn't like what they're doing, so the whole family may break up and move back. I mean, these complicated linkages, they just don't fly. We were talking about this family thing. I mean, you whole group there could become a family and then get a certain pricing, and then he's going to leave, and your price is going to go up. There's no predictability and complicated, and you don't even know each other. And I know you two don't like each other either. But so, yeah, individuals up to 5 lines in a family. Yep.
Dancing through with the Verge. How do you guys address, you've talked a lot about how your network is exceptionally fast, and you showed a lot of examples in urban areas. How do you address complaints of coverage in wider rural areas or suburban areas that is not as broad as the other carriers?
No, it's a great question. I would give it to Neville, but I want to tell you that, see, this game that started last year with the Uncarrier movement, there's a short-term game and there's a long-term game. And clearly right now the numbers show that we've got a very low churn rate, very highly satisfied group of customers. The network, where it's great, is superlative. And this longer let's call it medium term, low band spectrum opportunity number 1 to be followed by others. That's the answer to, can T-Mobile actually deploy the same kind of footprint, better speed, but footprint that heretofore was seen as only being Verizon or AT&T's option. And I think that's what you've heard. But, Neville, if you want to talk about it.
I'll just be quick. I mean, we are going to be attacked. We're always on that coverage build. We've done a lot of improvement on coverage with the modernization program, all that stuff over the last 2 years. There's more to come this year. And now, as John said, low band on top. So think about what we can do in those suburban fringe areas, rural areas where it's been really tough for us to get in with mid-band spectrum. Now we have the weapon, right, in low band. Now we can go and attack those locations, those areas which have been very, very difficult for us to go after. Can't tell you I'm going to do it overnight, right? But this year we will start to deploy in that spectrum block. And 15 is going to be another huge year where the reach and touch of that great network we have will become even greater.
And I want to make sure, because I think I hear from you many times a day. You have no life, just like me, by the way. This is very important because, a year ago when we started this, certainly people thought we were crazy and that the movement was crazy. Now, there's 2 or 3 things that are important. We are a very fast-growing company, so this works, right? And it gives us the power. We're trying to change fundamentally the industry, completely change it. We will be beneficiaries as moving through that, but the industry and you, customers, will benefit greatly from all the changes. But when you move out a year, 2, 3, I want to make it clear, I do not see limitations for T-Mobile to be seen as only a 4th or 3rd or 2nd carrier. There is nothing strategic and long-term that we can't do to make us be the carrier in the United States. Won't happen next year, won't happen in 2 years, but we're playing hard. We're playing direct to consumers. We're investing in the things that are required to do that, and we will, cover those areas. And anybody that wants to doubt us, that's the game. Sit back, go for the excessive margins, and we will eat your lunch.
Hey, John, there's increasing speculation that you guys might be acquired by Sprint or somebody else. Could you talk about how that might affect customer decisions to take you up on some of these shifting offers?
Yeah, obviously, that as a CEO of a public company, I'm supposed to drool and say, man, we don't have anything to say about that. I have a couple things to say about it, actually. And, I want to make sure that you understand. Here's my view of the industry. And I'm not a newcomer anymore, but I've got a view of this industry. Historically, the consolidation of this industry was generally somebody buying somebody for spectrum, right? They didn't give a shit about the business. They wanted spectrum. And I think what you notice is all of the people that are rumoring around about T-Mobile, all they are is spectrum. They're spectrum with no legs, right? So what I can tell you is the T-Mobile Uncarrier business, the people, the brand, the attitude is here to stay. The impact on the United States industry of this company will prevail. Now, how that ultimately plays out, certainly I want you to think about 2 things about T-Mobile. One is what we showed last week is we can acquire low-band spectrum. We can continue to participate in the availability of spectrum, build this company out, and be standalone independent because we not only have an engine, we got legs. On the other hand, there are options for the industry in the future that are consolidation capabilities that would provide significant scale and capability. But I believe what we are in any of those equations is a brand, a focus on the consumer, a change agent, a maverick in the industry that I believe the United States feels is extremely important. So I think what we're doing in any scenario will prevail.
Yes, sir. A question. Hi, Walter Brand from the Boston Globe. I just want to know what happened to you, by which I simply mean, was there a moment, an experience, an incident that made you suddenly take this very, I don't know if angry is the right word, maybe contemptuous, hostile attitude toward the way the industry has been run up to now? Was there something that happened to change your mind?
Listen, when I came to T-Mobile, I came because I looked in at the brand and the people, and I could see, anybody ever go sing karaoke, right? Karaoke, that's the best way to say it. The rule of thumb in karaoke is when somebody sings and they suck, go next. Right? Okay? And I'm not casting on individuals. I'm saying that period that happened with T-Mobile in the failed acquisition was terrible. And the engine was sitting on idle, but the cash was there. The spectrum was there. The people are unbelievable. The team knew exactly what to do. The company was being run as a subsidiary instead of a company. There was capital that wanted to come and play. You get off your ass and get the iPhone and get the devices. Start the consolidation. And I saw that this company could take advantage of an industry that's growing in the participation in the way. Now, what happened, I'm just a sponge. And when I got here and I talked with customers, I couldn't believe how contemptuous. People, it wasn't like I'm unhappy. They hated everything about the wireless experience, the most important device that they have in their life. They hated it. They hated the carriers. They hated the experience. They hated the way you purchase phones. They hated the unpredictability, the bills, the inability to upgrade. And so I took that on as our company being about being different from the carriers, being the uncarrier, being the one to bring change to consumers and knowing that it would change. And I'm just a highly competitive, I'd say midlife crisis, but I had that about 30 years ago. And it's fun. We're a very competitive group, and it's fun. It's fun to win. It's even more fun when somebody loses and hurts while you're doing it. But the big winner here is customers. Right now, this thing that we just announced, I don't know if it's going to make us the number 2 or 3 carrier immediately, but people are giddy on this because it allows them to go in and go to the other carriers and say, what the F? I'm not doing this anymore. What are you going to do for me? And that's been different. And since you're from what was originally my hometown newspaper, glad to see you here. And I am still a Yankees fan, sorry.
There's some fears on Wall Street that you've instigated a price war in the U.S. mobile market that could end up thrashing profits. Do you have any fears about a price war?
Did Lowell send that concern in himself? Or listen, this is all I know is that I know our cost structure. We didn't have a big concert with Macklemore the other night. I had to crash because we don't waste our money on this kind of stuff. If you want that, my advice to you is you get your phone service from us. And then if you want to go to Macklemore, you sleep with somebody that's got tickets. I wasn't meaning you. I was talking about Braxton. And we have very quietly, by the way, we have taken over $1.5 billion out of our cost structure last year. We're continuing to take huge amounts of cost out of the business. We focus all of our time and energy on a flat, fast-moving company. And all I know about us, we can be very profitable. We've given guidance about 3 to 5% revenue growth and a very strong EBITDA and cash flow growth, and we can do it with this. I don't know how somebody that's got 55 points of gross margins and people shackled to family plans can respond, but I don't think you need to make 55 points of gross or EBITDA margin. It's not in our plan. There's a healthy option. So price war, no, but we are going to shake them up, and they're going to have to decide. Do they want to do what historically has happened strategically, which is don't worry about them, they're little, give them a little share. And I think historically, when you give one of those snowballs going downhill a lot of momentum, it's hard to change. But no, healthy, profit, growth business is clearly our objective. And I think when we give the rest of our earnings, you'll see that we're very balanced, both in what we'll give as guidance and what we have as results.
Hi, Bill Ho. 556 Ventures. Mike, can you talk about the 2014 marketing campaign relative to 13? Is it going to be more aggressive? You're going to throw more money at it? I think in previous conferences we talked about the buying power of Verizon and AT&T, and how do you surmount that in 14?
One thing I'll point out is we're a distant fourth in how much we spend in advertising. I mean, we're number 4 out of 4 by a long shot. And that's because what we're doing is a movement. It's viral. People tell each other about it. They use social. They're benefiting from it, and they're telling their friends. So all we have to do is instigate that. What you're going to see is we're going to kick off the year, and as we wrap up Q&A, we'll actually show you the commercial that's airing tonight, which is about today's end of contracts for America. It's a celebration. We're going to be investing in it. But what we're really doing is investing just enough to spark consumers who love what we're doing and want to be a part of it and want to tell their friends.
Yeah, and I think there's what we're doing is so important to people, the word is getting out. And I think the days of purely using mass media, cute advertising to get people into a store to do something that they hadn't thought of before, is over. I mean, I know when we finish here, I'm going to be on 5 or 6 or 7 TV shows and a global broadcast on Yahoo tomorrow. By noon tomorrow, I'm pretty sure most people will have heard what we're up to. And we'll continue that drumbeat with the word of mouth as well.
One more?
Yep.
One more. Avi Greengard, Current Analysis. So, John, you've taken away contracts for individuals and for your family plans, and
everyone.
And you're allowing people to break out of other people's family plans, but you haven't done much in terms of your own family plans changing the structure in any way. Is that next?
You want to start?
Yeah, I would just say, it's actually a common misperception. Our family plans are phenomenally popular. The vast majority of people that come to T-Mobile every day sign up for our family plans. You know, that thing that was announced yesterday by Dan, the family thing, it was, you got to get to 7 people before you get to $25 per user. Our family plan that's already out there with Simple Choice, you get to $25 a user after 4 people. It already exists. So it's really simple. Simple Choice starts at $50. The second person is $30. Each additional person is $10. It's phenomenally popular. We're the fastest growing wireless company in America.
And, you know, it's an important conceptual change, right? You have to go back to the heritage of family plans. The heritage was, if you 5 people come in together, the incremental cost of the 5th person is going to be better, and all you got to do is have this contract and perpetually stay with us. Once we get rid of all contracts, anytime upgrades, prices are already down at 4 times, 4 for 100. You can do this much easier, and you can move and you can change, and that's a huge difference. There's no family plan that exists even in the contractual environment that is competitive with our existing no contract, assembled version that you can do. But if somebody wants us to tape it together, we're cool with that.
The last thing I'd say is we continue to be the only major carrier that offers family plans without a credit check and without a contract. We launched that in July. It's been a huge part of our success, and we're still the only ones.
Do you have a family plan? No? You're on T-Mobile? You pay? Anybody have a family plan? Yeah? I guarantee you, I'll give you my card on the way out. No, you have one with us, though. All right, you're good. We'll give you whatever you want. Who's got a family plan with somebody else? Yeah? 6 on Verizon. How does this sound to you? Yeah? Okay. Yep. If you're not ready to do your breakup letter, take my email, and I will have a 5-minute conversation with you, and I guarantee you will switch. Or you'll have a fascinating conversation with Verizon. Right? Okay? Is that it? Okay, we're going to wrap up. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. And take a look at the video.
Oh, sorry.